fatenzo.com, 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 fatenzo.com. fatbenzo.com.
And konnichiwa, motherfuckers. Thanks for tuning in to the Monday evening string. I'm Roberto Vincenzo Picarillo, a.k.a. Bobby Pickles, Simer Esquire. And tonight my guest, you all know and love, he's Gavin McInnes' Asian sidekick, Ryan Katsu Rivera. And how you doing, sir? Ryan is apparently, actually, according to Google, he's half Japanese and half Puerto Rican, which I would say makes him 100% Filipino, but Google says it makes him 100% Nazi. So, anyways, who knows with these mutts? He's ethnically ambiguous, which is great if you want to be an actor or some shit like that, or an impersonator, I guess. Ryan does impersonations from time to time on Get Off My Lawn, which is the title of Gavin's show, and which Paul Bazile says he brilliantly came up with, among other things. Ryan is also the producer of said show, which is the premiere show on Censor.tv, Gavin McInnes' podcast network of conservative misfits. In some cases, literal misfits. In the case of Michael Graves, which is the show that Paul Bazile stole from me. Anyway, nonetheless, enough yapping for me. Time to start asking some questions. Here's my interview with Ryan Katsu Rivera. Welcome to Bobby Pickles Podcast.
Bobby Pickles Podcast!
That's me!
Yeah, and what up? Oh shit, entire screen? Why is this doing this? There it is. Yo, what up, man? How you doing, brother? Thank you so much for being on.
Rock and roll.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, man. That was a hell of an intro.
I appreciate it, man. I try.
Hell of an intro.
I try, man. What's up, Ryan?
Paul Bazile.
Yeah. Thanks for joining me tonight. Did I get any information factually incorrect in the intro?
Well, I mean, no, technically, the full-blooded Nazi thing, that is according to Google. So that's not factually incorrect that it's according to Google, but that article was, it's funny, that article was written by a friend, like a friendly, on medium.com, and it's so absurd that you would think, oh, everybody's going to get that that's a joke, but everything's so retarded that it seems pretty serious.
Yeah. I mean, how does that feel, man? I've had that same thing happen to me, man. If you go on and Google Bobby Pickles, it comes up that I made the 6 million wasn't enough shirt, which I never made. I made many shirts in my time. I provided the bullets and the bandages, and I definitely believe in free speech, and I printed some crazy stuff, man. Like the white man is the devil the Bible speaks of, stuff like that. But I've never printed anything that can be considered Nazi content, you know?
That's smart. That's definitely smart and true to form. You know, no, I don't think I've never met a Nazi, but I'm pretty sure they wouldn't like any of my friends or me. Got to do the hair, of course.
I know, man. Well, like, look at that hair, man. That hair is some that is some non-white hair, right?
This is my everything pass. I can say any word I'd like because I have this bizarre coof.
That's right. You got the bizarre poof. I mean, maybe if you're like a Guinea or something like that, you'd have the poof. That would probably be the only white person with that crazy poof. But it's,
Let's be honest. I know you're Italian, and for all the Italians out there, you're not white. You're close, but you're definitely like kind of Latino-ish or whatever. The Spartans were Dorians that conquered Greece, and they went but they're not really Greek. It's like it took them a while to be considered Greek. They're Greek inhabitants, but they conquered the place. But Italians are a little dark, a little olive, got some flavor in there.
Yeah, that's right. I'm a Guinea. I have that flowing through my body. And
you don't say.
Yeah, but yeah, you see the swarthy appearance. It's totally retarded. It's the greatest white lie ever told.
True.
That's what I call it. And we're gonna do, man. I don't know. You probably didn't catch this, man. But I set up a Proud Boys versus the ISUPK. They're the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, the Black Hebrew Israelites. And I got yeah, it was great. I got Enrique on there, and we all talked to them about what whiteness is. I mean, God, it's just so funny, man. I mean, they're really confused about it. They think that. I don't know, man. Talking about the Italian thing. I just feel like Italians came over here and they're like, "Oh, what do we have to be? We have to be white. Okay, we are white. We white."
Right.
And they just went with they followed along with it. They assimilated into the culture. They refused to, teach their kids Italian in a lot of
Sure.
instances, and they just assimilated into the culture, man. But yeah, they're more Latin-esque, in my opinion.
Yeah, very much so. And same thing goes with Puerto Ricans too. It's like. They were my grandparents. They were forced to just speak English, and also like Puerto Ricans seem to have like this weird spot in the city. You see it more because they get away with saying the N-word, not in a pejorative way, just like in a friendly way.
Well, Puerto Ricans are supposedly the perfect person because they are ethnically like everything, right? I mean, like. Completely American, Native American, conquistador, and African, right? So it's all three of the things. Or no, Indian, African, Native American, and conquistador. So
and Taino Indian would be the native part of that whole thing.
Correct, correct. The Taino Indian.
And I'm sure.
And if you're Asian too, holy shit! If you're Asian too, you're everything.
Just basically everything, yeah.
You're basically everything.
Yeah. This is what it looks like when they're like, "What's the world going to be? Just some beige, nondescript person?" It's just me.
Holy shit!
I like the intro where you're like, basically, it's a Filipino. That's true. I always would say that it's like a makeshift Hawaiian. Basically,
I thought of that myself.
That's very good.
Thank you.
It's Philippine Islands, right?
I mean, the Filipinos are the Mexicans of Asia.
True.
And they all are Catholic. They're awesome, actually. Filipinos are fucking awesome.
They are. Yeah, they are interesting. They really are. And there's a whole bunch of Asian stuff going on nowadays, but I feel like Filipinos can steer clear of that. I want to steer clear of that. I don't want to look Asian, during this whole Asians are special crap. And I knew this was going to happen too. Like I've been tweeting about it that I was like, please, please, please don't let Asians have a BLM moment where they're annoying and there's commercials and posters and protests, and now it's happening. So this sucks.
I know, man. It is crazy.
I was so happy to be not black, not white, so I could just watch on the sidelines. But now the fucking rice Americans are in the spotlight, and I hate it. I can't stop playing with this hair. Why would you ever? I mean,
dude, I wouldn't.
Any other podcast, you're getting the scoop,
bro. I'll do it too. Are you serious?
You got hair? Oh, whoa! Oh, that makes me happy.
Yeah.
That is fucking righteous. You're a rock and roller. Do you play instruments?
Oh,
you play
shit,
rock?
I can't hear. Hello?
You play the musics?
I play the music sometimes. I grew up playing music, and I played bass and guitar or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
And then, but no, I grew up playing in punk rock bands, and then punk rock bands, you don't have to be the best. So, I mean, I knew a lot. I know all power chords and stuff. I know obviously all the basic chords and stuff, but I didn't really get like crazy good. Like I heard that you're crazy good. Like all kinds of solos and stuff like that, right?
All of the solos, frankly. Yeah, no, I love rock. You know what's crazy is like most of my good friends in high school and whatever that were in bands that Italians love rock and roll. So do they have this about the same passion for rock that like Latin America does. If you go to Latin America, you see those concerts in Argentina and Chile and stuff like that. It's like they fucking still pack out an entire place like it's 1980s. They still love it, and Italians too, man. They love Metallica a lot. Italians, is that correct? Do you love Metallica?
Yeah, but no, I have like cousins in Italy and stuff like that. Like Guido, his name's Guido. He like loves everything metal, and every time he comes over here, rents a motorcycle. And Italy is very very hard metal-esque. There's a lot of metal heads there, and the American Italian counterparts as well. Yes, absolutely.
That's just the thing I've noticed. Yeah.
And then also, though, what you were talking about Argentina and stuff and Latin American rock, all of that is completely knocked off. You know that, right? Like they knock off all that. Right? Did you watch that documentary on Netflix, the one about Latin rock? Oh, there's a great one you got to see, man. Fuck Netflix, but you have to see this documentary. It'd be right up your alley. All about Latin rock, man, and basically everything that we had, like the Who or Led Zeppelin, even though Led Zeppelin stole a lot of lyrics and whatnot and other things, but everybody, the Latin people down South America and stuff, Central America, they would have like their version of it. So and it brings you through that whole thing. It's crazy.
No way. Okay, interesting. Yeah, no, I did not know that. But what is it called? Do you know the name of it?
No, I don't. I'll try to find it. I don't have my Asian sidekick. I actually have an Asian sidekick too. And
no way.
Yes, I do. We call him Genghis Khan, and he's not here right now, so he would be able to do that. But anyway, so
the rock and roll Italians. One more thing on that is like, so they always love the rock and roll and stuff like that. Metallica is one of their favorite bands. Italian. Oh, I don't know. It's just all right. There's a lot of similarities. We can get into that. But one of the funniest things I've ever heard is like Nick DiPaolo was talking to Patrice O'Neal.
Wait, are you talking about similarities between Italians and Asians?
No, Latinos.
Oh, okay. Because there's similarities between Asians as well. Like I have a really great Chinese friend. Well, the Chinaman. He's an 83-year-old Chinese man, and he's my he used to be my butler, but now he's not. Now we got him into an old age home now. But so Peter Lee, he's the best. He basically what was I thinking about? I'm sorry, I'm smoking weed at the same time here.
The links between Italians and Asians.
There are so many. They both love gambling. They both love, noodles, right?
Tracksuits.
They love tracksuits. That's probably true. Let me think. He does dress pretty peculiarly. It's funny, yeah. Not a lot of tracksuits, but he definitely can dress like a guinea at times, man. But there's more than that. The family aspect, big family. You guys, everybody eats in like a family way. Like you get served in family settings, usually to eat.
Pasta.
Pasta. Yeah, it's a big thing.
They share that.
There's more than that though. Who created the pasta first, by the way? They say Chinese did, right?
I heard. That's what I heard. But who knows? I doubt all sorts of things now because I've seen history being like rewritten. Like you go to a thing and then they spin it and they're like, this is what that thing was about. It looked like a gun protest, but actually it was a bunch of Nazis getting together and fucking doing bad shit. And you're like, well, that's not true at all. But okay. So I don't trust much stuff. I got to look into dinosaurs. That's been my whole thing. If you're watching the show,
dude, I know. I have all of this laid out in the questions. Trust me.
That's
we are
awesome.
Going to get to it about dinosaurs. But all right. So about Latins. Okay, so back to Latins and Italians. I was up in Connecticut talking to my uncle couple months ago, and he was telling me this. He was just like, we were talking about how everybody down here in South Florida, I'm down here, and just I'm sure you know. I don't know if you know, but I'm in the Proud Boys, and I'm in the same chapter as Enrique Tarrio down here.
I've heard of that group.
And I was just talking about how all of these Latin American people just love America and they hate communism and stuff, and it's just so awesome. And he's just like, it really reminds me, the Latins coming in here reminds him of Italians. And I think it's the same kind of thing. They're coming in here because being a Latin, what does that even mean, right? There are white Latins, there are black Latins, there's in the middle Latins like yourself. There's all kinds, and Hispanic, just to be Hispanic, all that is a white person can literally move from Europe and just move to South America, and then now they're Hispanic,
Yep.
And so there's a lot of white Latins, and I feel like people it's just kind of the Italian thing. It's like they choose. They're like, which way am I going to go on this?
Yeah.
Am I going to go this way, or am I going to go this way?
If you think about all the little Italian nuances, like the nuances in Italian culture, when it comes to, even nicknaming the parents, like Nona, yada yada, I got my this, my that. The Maloikia with the evil eye, the weird traditions, they're drenched in the Catholicism. They got superstition to them too. It's they got a touch of the tar brush. They're definitely not what you would consider white. I mean, white would be English, Scottish, German, Swedish, even Australian.
Southern Europe are the Mexicans of Europe. Just like we're talking about the Mexicans of Asia, the Mexicans of Europe. The Mexicans of any place should never be considered white.
No, they're not. And they should be, awarded or regarded, in a positive light for they're like extra steeped tea. There's just a lot going on there. They like spicy shit on their chocolate, like Mexicans. Like they do shit different. And I think instead of taking it as a pejorative, when we're like, "Oh, you Mexican," that's not exactly. Not trying to knock them. We're just saying you're different.
No. I'm just saying you're south of the border. That's all. You're just south. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think. I think literally the Philippines is the South, isn't it? Like the South Pacific. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I mean, I'm retarded, but I also think very strongly that you're correct.
Okay,
so I don't know what that is. Maybe it's.
Let's move on to something funny. I like talking crap about this guy. He's a funny guy. Is it true that Paul Bazile is the most talented creative genius on Censored.tv? I would like to play a video really quick. Mm-hmm. To illustrate what I'm talking about, and then I would like to have your opinion about the matter. Here it goes.
Sure.
The eclectic array of Proud Boys. This guy was a former, is still a hippie, obviously, but he's a reformed hippie. He's a proud Western.
Born again American.
Chauvinistic hippie.
Born again American and a proud Western chauvinist.
Born again American.
Refuse to apologize for helping create the modern world.
Born again American. Dude.
Apologize for the Birkenstocks in his closet.
He's got something there with the born again American. Maybe you could
like that.
Turn that.
That's actually a nice little hashtag. Hashtag born again American. I came up with it.
No, you did not.
Yeah.
Although you would tell everybody you did, I'm sure.
They nuked my Facebook.
I've already come up with enough fucking shit for everybody. By the way, Milo's new fucking thing about how he's straight and he's like, I'm doing a thing called conversion therapy. Who do you think came up with that?
Shut up.
I told him a year ago, I said the next tour or event or whatever you do, you should call it conversion therapy. I didn't say come out as straight or do something preposterous. I hate to tell him that you can't unsuck a dick, but it's like I fucking said, do this thing called conversion therapy. And then I just saw him on Tuesday. He goes, oh, isn't the conversion therapy thing wonderful? I'm like, yeah, I came up with it. And he was like, did you? I'm like, yes, you wrote it down. I saw you. He's like, I didn't remember that. I also named the show Get Off My Lawn.
What?
Yes. And I didn't know about this till I was shooting for it. And they went, hey, you're on Get Off My Lawn. And I went, That's the name I came up with for I threw it out, like just call it Get Off My Lawn. Like you're an old curmudgeon or something. And I put it out on like Facebook, and then fucking I'm shooting for the show, and they're like, here we are on Get Off My Lawn. I'm like, Get Off My Lawn? And I put on the first episode, and he goes, how I came up with the name Get Off My Lawn. It's very intricate. I'm like, no, you heard it from me, motherfucker.
Wow.
I also, by the way, I don't want to get Bobby.
He calls Mencia you?
He Mencia'd me, but the worst offender of all. And this might get Bobby in trouble. I hate to do that. So this does not reflect on Bobby. I came up with Loomered.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you where, when, and I have witnesses. Because I said it to her repeatedly. I'm like, well, I guess they've been Loomered, because there was no word for what she was doing. It certainly wasn't journalism. And I was like, all right, I guess you've Loomered another one. And she was like, Loomered. Yeah, I like that. I'm going to use that. I didn't realize she was going to write it on fucking everything.
Wow, what an insightful podcast. At the very end, right at the end, coming out, and you got a score right there. That was really good.
Looking good. By the way, where did I get my T-shirt, Bobby?
Oh, you got it from Proud. All right. Let me get off that.
Oh, man.
How do I turn that up? There it is.
He's not wrong.
He's not wrong?
Paul and I go super duper way back. And
Tell me about Paul. Tell me about your relationship with Paul Bazile. How long you known him for and stuff. You're an old school Proud Boy, right? I mean, you're one of the originals.
Yeah, it's when it was just about naming cereals, and then there were rules being created on the fly. Essentially, I met Ben Ratner, who the whole group he was the mascot. He never got laid.
God.
He was chosen.
Is there any way? Where is Ben Ratner at right now, dude? How do we get that guy on the podcast or whatever? I want to talk to that guy.
Oh, he would not be interested. However, you can find him on Twitter. Ben Makes TV, I believe it is. And he'll go live and do some Periscopes or whatever, or Twitter live, and play piano tunes. But he loves the song "Proud of Your Boy" by Aladdin, from the Aladdin musical, and so that's why the theme song is Proud of Your Boy. That's why the name of the group is Proud Boys. It was created as a goof to try to get this redheaded Jew laid. And that's what it is to a lot of people. A lot of the purists, it's just a drinking club where you talk shit on liberals, and you could feel sane in a world that, like, they're like, which transgender woman is the right for you? Z, we, V. So when you hear shit like that on, like, when you're walking around Target and that's on the radio, the world's fucking nuts, and
the world is they product place, brainwashing, manipulative things all throughout culture. So yes, you could be walking through Target and then you hear something that's reinforcing that brainwashing. Yeah. It's pretty crazy.
And it's all about club. It's all about clubs getting together and having a little world of sanity, a little oasis of sanity where you could be surrounded by people that fundamentally believe in the same reality, not the shifting reality that ventures away from traditionalism that has gotten us so far as humankind, has been the binder for all sorts of different types of people. Just the foundation of this country alone, as diverse as it's always been since it's been founded, from the Dutch to the Pilgrims to the yada yadas or whatever, it was never one thing, and then also, like, we got into the nuances of what white is. And the only reason I would even bother talking about that is because they're always making it about white supremacy, white this, white that. The left, whoever's doing the cancel culture, political correctness, whoever's officiating that whole shit, they're making it about white. But white has so many subgenres too, and to ignore the diversity within the white culture, it's doing the same disservice that was done to people of color. So revenge is their motive. They're like, well, you just think all these other places are shitholes, and that's not really true. I mean, we see the differences. That's different. That's a different type of shithole. That shithole throws gays off roofs. That shithole makes women not drive. And there's a bunch of different types of shithole. There's a bunch of different types of whites. like you know,
and the blacks the same thing. You can say the same thing for the African Americans, man. African Americans, number one, their skin is like milky. They have white in them as well. You know, they have trace amounts of white. They do.
Sure.
If you do a DNA test on any of them, I think statistically most or like, and I know this from watching like PBS and stuff. You know, from watching what is it? Henry Louis Gates, like finding your roots or whatever, no homo or whatever. But I watch that show, and that's a very interesting show. Most, like probably almost 100% of the African Americans he tests all have white in them. So
yeah.
I mean, up to like half white, and just because you look more black, you still have that white in you. You probably honestly have the same amount of genetic white, like the guy who owned the slaves or whatever, like that I do, you know, or that anybody does.
Right.
That anybody does, regardless of your skin tone. You probably have the trace amounts to that dude too. I mean, I don't know. It's just crazy, man. They don't understand, or we as a culture don't really understand or put in perspective what race really is. Race is like in America is so much more complex. We are just a melting pot, and we're mutts. We're all mutts. We're white mutts. We're black mutts. We're all mutts, man. You know?
True.
Nobody's 100%
That's
anything.
why we hate the divisiveness, and they just boil all the fun things down to good or bad. And there's no spectrum of like so you know with the Proud Boy thing, it was like really like no matter what you look like, as long as you believe in the foundation thing, because you need a binder, you need something to some form of community to share, so that way you guys get along. It's kind of like a language or something like that. So just speaking the language of sanity in these little groups. Like another thing that I got is like a music group where we meet every Tuesday on Zoom, and then we chat in Telegram, and it's just all about music. We try to keep politics out of it as much as possible. We fail a lot, but knowing that we all have the same respect for the icons of rock and then the history of music, and you know, we kind of like shake our head at like the synthetic crap that's being played out there nowadays, because there's no musicianship in it. There's nothing to be proud of with it, and replicating it it's just now a lineage of shittier and SoundCloud rappers, and no message behind it. Like I always talk about Rush, how the song Limelight is about the concept of fame or being put in the public eye, and how that warps reality and stuff, and you got to shred that away to get to the real nature, the underlying theme. Like that is a high concept for a group of Canadian guys with long hair. There's so many good rock songs that address tons of things, like Danzig, Mother. What is that about? It's a guy talking to the mother. He's like, hey, you know, I'm gonna take your daughter. Or that's fucking cool. Like, I don't know. So themes, you know, are important, and you know, we're making like a mixtape, and we all have different points of view, and none of it is like overtly conservative, because we kind of cringe a little bit. Now we love what Tom McDonald is doing as far as the message goes. We love what Bryson Gray is doing for the message and the conservative party. But you know, rap is rap, and I think it's quite trash, at least at this point, and it's all derivative, and nothing really is shocking anymore, because all it is shock. So when you're just in that world of shocking shit, I don't know, man. And God bless those guys for going out there and spreading the message of like right-wing values. But there's something about rap too. It's this weird thing where not caring and not enunciating things is cool. So when you go in there and you're like, yo, the election was rigged, Roger Stone is innocent. It's like, okay, that's all true, and I agree. Yes, that's fine. But still, the medium, the envelope which you're putting your message in is trap or rap, whatever the fuck they call it these days. And it fucking sucks. It's not listenable. It's not music. Can't tap your foot to it. Can't tap your foot to it, man. Hey, listen. I listen to rap song, rap trap. Listen. It's my Joe Biden.
Hell yeah.
So we try to keep it as musical as possible, trying to create a little oasis. Even if it's not permeating the mainstream, rock and roll still exists, and we're trying to uphold it. Same way Proud Boys are trying to uphold masculinity and traditionalism, all that stuff. We have those same core values woven into, what we're doing, but it's about music, so that's something that hopefully can't be attacked any further. I think it's, pretty decimated as far as culture goes. Rock does not exist in culture.
I believe you are very naive, my friend. Very, very, very naive.
It does exist, but you got to look for it. It's not hitting you in the face when you go into a Target or in the elevator. It's all Cardi B's asshole or something.
I mean, yeah, everything has been politicized. I mean, I used to do a podcast just for like punk rock, and I interviewed a lot of punk rock musicians, all kinds, and it just got so political at the end there. That's why I became a Trumper or whatever, man. 2016 was because of that, because the punk scene had become, and it was just so inundated with politics. You couldn't go to a show without hearing everybody needs to vote for Hillary Clinton. It was pretty crazy, and it started off as punk rock was no government, whatever, anarchy, no right, no left, and then it became largest government somehow, which makes no sense whatsoever. But a couple things you were talking about, yeah, Neil Peart dying sucks. Rush is awesome. Okay, that group that you have going, what's it called?
We are kind of a private group right now, but the mixtape we're releasing is going to be called the Honey Pot mixtape.
Oh, I think I've heard that, right? Now, you guys are all working on that together, so it's all musicians who are actually actively working on coming up with music in the group?
Yeah, brand new stuff and stuff like that. And so we're in the process of like naming it, but it's essentially a group of individual, independent artists. So the ones that are public, because there are a few people that are trying not to get canceled and be affiliated with censored TV or Gavin or anything like that because they have lives still. But the ones that are public, not anonymous, are Hollowed. He did the Kyle Rittenhouse song, Boom, 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 Boom. Hollowed. He's got a bunch of great songs, COVID songs, voting songs. So he's like a based rock guy. Ty Richards, I don't know if you remember him. He made the song Western Chauvinist.
He's going to be on tomorrow.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Is there anything I should ask him? Damn.
Ask him about the mixtape that's dropping.
Okay, cool.
That'd be kind of neat. But yeah, just also he's got a lot of great things going on in his life, and he's a really talented musician. He got kicked out of, the Austin scene. You know all that though, right?
No, I don't know anything really about him. I know the Western Chauvinist song, and somebody mentioned to me that I definitely should be getting him on or whatever, and I hit him up over the weekend, and he just so happened to is going to be doing it tomorrow. I spoke with him earlier today, and he was telling me about it. He said he moved from there, and he's living somewhere else now. And I was asking him a little bit about that, about moving from like that liberal area of Austin to wherever he is now. He says there's a little bit of that still going on, but he does say that he makes websites, which is pretty awesome. And I saw his website. It is badass. You can tell
his art is great.
He's a great artist. So obviously, because that's the problem with website developers. Website developers are great at coding, but a lot of times they don't know how to design really. It just kind of sucks. You know what I'm saying? But when you know both, you found a gem. I shouldn't be saying this too much because Enrique Tarrio will get the idea of using him. I've already got that idea, and we're spy versus spy, so God damn.
Oh, I see. That's funny.
Yeah.
Tom and Jerrying over there. But yeah, dude, definitely ask Tyler. Ty, his experience about being purged out of Austin. He was there when Austin was fucking awesome. He got a whole bunch of opportunities, grazing the mainstream success, had a lot of high quality local radio and basically the NPR of Texas. Filmed some of his live performances and stuff like that. Had an awesome band, was released had a bunch of hits on this, kind of like a local scene, but still pretty big, like radio stations and stuff in the area.
Like on his way to fame, in that market, in the local market, blowing up in the local market, and then ready to go another step.
Yeah, and he would have made it all the way because he's really unique with his sounds. He samples. He keeps it very traditional when it comes to how he records. He uses a lot of analog stuff, very bare bones recording style, but out of that comes a lot of really creative and colorful stuff. He's really, really great, really talented dude.
And you should add C. Neely to that too. Do you know C. Neely?
No. Send me a
Okay.
link.
I'll send you a link to the Fuck Antifa song. And then he
Okay.
also did Noble Beard's podcast. He
Oh,
did
yeah.
his opening music. He makes some really good stuff. I think what he was basically like one of those guys that worked at all the different sporting events, like in between innings and stuff, where you're making the music. Yeah, he does a lot of keyboard, does it all with the keyboard, but he makes like the guitar sound and the drums and everything like that, and does it all with that or whatever, and it's badass.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd love to hear him. Maybe even I've been like slowly trying to get more people inside the group. Right now, it's about 12 members, for maybe 14 members, people that are really adamant about music. They keep it a part of their life, no matter what they're doing with it. They don't have to be in a band actively or whatever, as long as you can self-produce your own stuff and you play music actively. So there's that. There's a couple of Proud Boys, St. Louis guys, a guy from Fargo is really cool. They're all like really cool dudes. We're going to have to come to a point where like, do you want to stay anonymous? Do you want to stay anonymous? Because obviously it's a crazy world where they're canceling all sorts of people. We got Brian, the guy who makes all of our music for Censored TV. He's in the group. Let's see, who else? Oh, please don't be mad at me. Anybody else I don't name. It's not a huge group, but we're looking to expand too. So just let me see this Cecil guy. What is his name?
Oh, that's C. Neely.
Neely. Yeah.
C. Neely. Yes. He's gonna be good for you. But yeah, there was a bunch of stuff you were talking about with that whole monologue about the music and stuff. But maybe I'll think about it again as we go. But getting back to Paul Bazile, I really wanted to know about you guys. Like, you guys started together in the Proud Boys back in the day, right? And
yeah.
And then do you guys both produce at Censor.tv? Are you like counterparts?
You know what he's like in Men in Black, where they had that guy that met with the huge guy, and he had a little thing of jewels that Edgar the cockroach from space killed, and he had the little cat with Orion's belt on the necklace, and they brought him to the morgue, and then when the lady opened up his head, there's a little alien in there dying. That's Paul Bazile. And he's always saying shit like the galaxy's on Orion's belt, and we're like, what? And he's like, Orion's belt. He's always like half dying with his big green head and beautiful eyes for an alien. No homo.
Yeah, no, he's the best though. But no, he's complete scum, right? I mean, come on, just go with me on this.
Yeah, you know him. Yeah.
Let's just talk shit about Paul, man. Come on, I mean, the guy came up with Lumerd. He came up with everything. He's the most brilliant person on Censor.tv.
He's basically like Forrest Gump, where like, okay, in a movie, in a fictional universe, he was behind every great American turning point in history. And then when you realize it's just a movie and it's all fake and it's not true, that's Paul. Yeah, he's Forrest Gump, literally. Like, not Forrest Gump in the movie. He's a fictional
character.
Person. He's a patsy.
And everything he says is fiction in his own brain.
Yes.
It's a reality of his own brain. No, it's like basically the first episode of what was the one about about baseball and the guy, Danny McBride.
It's called Eastbound and Down.
Eastbound and Down.
I know you don't.
Now, remember when he goes to the school for the first time and it's like all in slow motion and he's like,
my nose.
Like, yeah. And then it shows really what's going on. That's Paul Bazile.
Yeah, he's like drunk and like stumbling around and like not smooth at all. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's in Sucker Punched, like where a girl is basically getting lobotomized and raped by handlers that are wearing scrubs, but in her mind she's battling them with like anime style katanas and she's in like these huge mech suits. That's what Paul Bazile sees. But really, he's in a morgue or something getting raped by Oscar, whatever the actor's name is.
Oscar the Grouch.
Yeah, that too.
Paul Bazile is in a morgue getting raped by Oscar the Grouch.
Paul Bazile is both Bert and Ernie. He's two homosexual puppets that teach you the alphabet. he fucks himself when the lights go down, the camera stop rolling.
No, why doesn't Paul Bazile have his own show on Censor.tv at this point?
Um,
Or
I
you, for
can't
that
think of anything
matter.
funny to say, but huh?
Or you, for that matter.
Oh, because I'm terrible. I would never be able to. Like, I could talk to people just fine. I enjoy it, but no. Yeah, if I was just talking alone. Like, have you ever done solo shows?
No, I don't really do solo shows. No.
Sucks.
Yeah,
It's
that would.
so unnatural. I got nothing to bounce anything off of. Like, there's no point in. I have nothing. I don't have any strong feelings when it comes to expressing any given thought. You know, it's either it could be handled or it can't be. And to talk about it is like just to press pause on life sometimes. I just don't. My train of thought's all over the place too, as you might be able to. You could tell. And
yeah.
I just fucking, I don't know.
Dude, that's the artist brain. That's why I have to write notes. I would be all over the place too.
All I have is notes, and I never refer. Do you ever refer to your notes? I have tons of notes, surrounded by notes.
I'm
Never
referring to my notes right now, my friend.
Very good.
Okay, so just like me, you've been booted off of basically every social media platform with the exception of YouTube and Parler. But you also survive on Twitter with the handle Asian Pat Dixon. Now, the question is, Pat Dixon, did he find you? Like, did he scout you and bring you up to the big leagues or something like that?
Essentially, yeah. Essentially, what Paul Bazile claims to be, basically he is. He has engineered and been the catalyst of basically every opportunity I've had. It goes back to him. So it all started where this is I'll tell the quickest version of this, but it is a fun story. There's a lot of nuance to it. But I was working in a kitchen of a sushi restaurant. I ran the whole kitchen, cleaned everything, prepped everything, cooked everything, yada yada. Did that day in and day out.
Now, did you learn sushi making from family, or did you learn it here working for this place?
It just built in. It's like, I got the update, like the iPhone update. It's just like I was able to do it one day. No, I never actually did sushi. It was all cooked food. It was anything from soups, salads, entrees, yada yada. And then also cooking tempura for the sushi. I could do sushi. I absolutely could, but not at a level where I'm serving people and getting a lot of orders and stuff like that. There's a art.
I have an art brain, and I just smoked weed, so I got you all off track. Now, please continue.
Oh yeah, no problem. So working at the sushi restaurant, only in the kitchen and stuff like that. So it's just me. I could wear whatever I want. I could look ridiculous. I could listen to whatever I want. So on my little speaker, I would listen to Opie and Anthony while cooking. And I became a fan of Opie and Anthony right at the end, just like on YouTube. And while becoming a fan of Opie and Anthony was fired from Sirius. So this was around 2014 or 2013. And he creates Compound Media. So I'm still listening to Opie and Anthony for a while, yada, yada. And then finally I'm like, I want to actually like I want to listen to what Anthony's doing on Compound Media. The reason I signed up to Compound Media is because of Gavin. I was listening to the best ofs they would put on YouTube for free. And I was like, still hesitant to sign up to stuff. And I was like, I don't think I've ever heard a person talk that freely before and that like non-PC and like not apologize for anything. Usually, even on Opie and Anthony, where they were very raw, they would say something offensive and be like, I'm kidding, of course. Or there'd be like a little bumper on it. But the way Gavin spoke was just like, all right, I got to hear it. It was a snippet of an interview, and I just wanted to hear the rest of it. So I signed up because I wanted to hear the rest of that Gavin interview. And so, I wasn't like the hugest Gavin fan at that point, but I was like, he's awesome. But I was still very Opie and Anthony guy. So one of the shows on Compound was New York City Crime Report with Pat Dixon. So I started doing an impression of him, and I put it on Twitter. Anthony retweeted it and followed me, and then I called into the show, and we spoke about impressions on the show. And I was like, this is like the best day of my life. I was like, Anthony has recognized me, that I exist.
Wow, that's so awesome.
And then Pat, I called into Eastside Dave's show and did my Pat Dixon impression. Yeah. And and then Pat was like, hey, you want to come on my fucking show and do that? And I was like, yeah. So I came in dressed up as him. I was on there with Mike Vecchione and him. It was first time I'd been there. And weird thing about that is that this was so cool. Like the first day that I went there to do that crime report, it was Ben Ratner's last day, the one who Proud Boys is based on. New tech guy was being trained, John, and that was the same time when Gavin was trying to break a world record of streaming. He was trying to stream for 3 days in total, and so he was there the entire time. He was like one of the first people I met there, and a whole bunch of interesting folks were there. Martina Marcota was there. Let me see, other people that would later be kind of known on their shows. I forget who. It was like packed full of guests, like regulars that were on Gavin's show. So it was a wild time to be there. And then I just like stayed with it, kept going into the city to do impressions and stuff like that. Eventually, Pat wanted to keep recording like past the time where the engineers would go home. So I learned how to do the TriCaster. So having all that knowledge there, Gavin wound up moving to CRTV. And when his producer left, on good terms, honorable discharge, frankly, he asked me if I wanted to do it. So that was a couple years ago, maybe 3 years ago, 4 maybe, probably 3. And that's how that's been. So, but if not for Pat Dixon inviting me on the show, I never would have known how to do any of that stuff, any Photoshop, any video editing, and I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now. He's a great guy. Very
So
funny guy.
you learned all that on the job, huh?
Yes.
Nice. You
Like
were
an
yeah, no. So you were basically an unpaid intern at first.
Yeah, for years I was like, maybe for 2 years or 3 years, I racked up the debt that everybody makes fun of me for. I racked up the debt by, going back and forth from upstate New York where I was living. And then eventually I was staying at this hostel there across from the city. I wound up working there so that way I could stay there for free. But still, a lot of expensive traveling, eating when you're down in the city. When you're there, that New York City has you. So you're paying,
Oh,
$10
I lived in New York City.
Right.
I know.
So you're stuck. You have to pay $13 for every meal you eat, basically, unless you want to eat shitty fast food, which I did.
Yeah.
And so I racked up like a couple $1,000s just buying wigs and making myself like little costumes for whatever impression I had to do, and then just commuting and stuff like that. And then now I now have a job where I could all that debt's paid off paid off, and now I'm retarded and gay. And stupid. And my girlfriend's like, no. They don't believe that.
It's called
Everything I said is a lie, like Bazille.
It's called self-deprecating humor. Anyway, yeah. So where was that out? Was that in like, I know Sirius Satellite Radio is in like the 50s or something like that, right? Where was the where was Compound? Is Compound around there too?
Compound? Yeah, it's Midtown.
Midtown area, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you were name dropping a couple different people that were in the studio at the time. Who are some other comedians or Censor.tv celebrities who have kind of brought you under their wing, excluding Gavin or Pat Dixon?
I mean, Talib Starks would have me on his show a lot. I love Talib. Anthony, encouraged me to do stuff on his show. I think I did 2 like guest appearance little bits on his show, and that doesn't really happen. Like before Aaron Berg and Gino had their characters that they would like pop up with. That was not something that Anthony's show ever did, really. It wasn't like a bit show where you come in and you do a green screen bit. But the first day I was there, I did this like Asian bit, and then the second time was another Asian bit. And that was Keith's idea. So, Keith the cop, who was the like president there or something like that, just kind of like the brains behind the operation. He nominated me to do some of those things there. Chris Laker, I did an impression of, but he didn't really know me too well. But I did a lot of stuff where I just impersonated Chris Laker. And if you haven't heard of him, it's because not a lot of people have. He's just a local New York comedian. And I would do impressions of people that maybe 500 people know, tops. I'm not trying to knock him, but I mean, he's, nobody really knows him. But the people that do know him is like, that's a dead-on impression. I do a Talib Starks impression. Maybe a couple thousand people know who he is, but
how did you get into doing impersonations? And are you trying to do comedy, son? Is that what you're trying to do?
Nah, comma, dog, period, send. LOL, delete, raffle, send. Emoji. Anyone, any emoji. No, I'm not trying to do comedy.
No? I mean,
No,
I think you should. You should probably get out there and start doing it. You live in New York
it's
City, fuck it, do it.
the thing is I did the whole rat race thing, climbing to fame, whole scrounge around. Oh, maybe I'll play this gig. Got to pack up my shit to go over there with the band. You know, I was in a band for years, and that's the same type of like hopeless creative type path where you're just grinding. And I don't really want to do grinding. I want to like focus on
Producing?
it's just so much energy to do that type of shit for really an immediate payoff, and then it's gone. Like I love getting laughs, but I'd love to just do that in life. Be funny in life. A lot of these comedians, funny. It's opposite for them. I can't say the same for Pat. Pat's always funny all the time. He's got a humor that has duration to it, where you never get sick of it. It's but there are some comedians that have like a bit, a character, an onstage persona, and when you hang out with them, it's just kind of dud city. And about half the comedians are just like withdrawn, introvert duds, and then they go on stage like, "Hey guys, so I was jerking off the other day," and then off stage they're boring, But I like to be like the in real life person, make people laugh, and sometimes that doesn't even work. So, yeah, I don't want to do the whole grind thing, or funny videos. It takes a long time to produce your own videos and put it out there, and then for what? People click on it and then they watch half of it and they're like, I'm going to watch something else. It's saturated. Nobody wants to hear new shit, whether it comes to music or comedy. So if you make it really like underground, like something like kind of special, then maybe people like sniff around. They're like, oh, what's that? And then they check it out. But like otherwise, like try to put stuff in like people's face. Like nobody want to hear that shit. You know what I'm saying? So it's pretty fire.
So nothing's worth doing. It's just like, even like you're saying, there's nothing even worth talking about. It's like, fuck it.
Not for strangers. Not for strangers. For yourself, sure. You get better at your own skills, and you nourish your spirit with the things that you love to do, and the people that matter to you and are close to you, and you have an impact on their life, and likewise, you share that energy with those people, and then then that's a stronger legacy than everybody know who I am,
dude.
But
Hollywood,
they're gonna get it wrong, and it's gonna fall apart, and
Hollywood could come calling, and then you can start worshiping Satan. You don't want to do that?
Like little Nas X. Funny thing is actually with that is that now that like Asian's gonna be like something really big in the market right now, I should do maybe like audition, because they're gonna be Asian commercials. Tide stands with Asians, but not because we wash clothes, asshole. And then they're fucking chopstick commercials and like, hey, do you love Hondas? So does he. Hello, I can drive, I promise. Just fucking Asian bullshit's gonna happen. So maybe I should audition for some Asian stuff.
Yeah, you could. Yeah. The Asian stuff. Should we go through the list of Asian ethnic slurs? No.
Yes.
Should we? There's a lot. I mean,
it's your channel.
I mean, there are a lot. It's crazy. Let me bring up Wikipedia right here.
I have the yellow card. No violin.
You do?
Yes. For those who didn't get that joke, Yellow Card was a band that was emo, but they had a violin player.
Oh, they're horrible.
Yeah, they do suck. Ocean Avenue, fucking.
I like that song.
That's the only good song that they ever did.
No, that's terrible. Terrible.
I agree, actually.
Anyway, look. So Asians. A celestial? That's a Chinese person used. Oh, that's from Australia. Used in the late 1900s. What's that?
Because they're moon face and they come from the stars and they don't have a fucking human spirit. That's never a thing a person should say.
I mean, I guess we'll just go through these and we'll see if we haven't heard of these. Obviously, we've heard of Charlie. That's from Vietnam.
Yes. That was my nickname in one of the kitchens that I used to work at. They were afraid to give me a name because I was Asian, and still am, actually. And they're fucking like, all right, what's your nickname going to be? And because they wanted to name me something Asian and racist, but they didn't want to go there. So like, all right, what's yours? You get to pick your own nickname, unlike everybody else here. And I was like, Charlie. And they're like, what's that? And I was like, well, in Vietnam, they used to call people that look like me Charlie. my nickname was Charlie. Yeah.
More self-deprecating humor, man.
Oh,
And of course, man. You gotta make fun of yourself. Fuck it. So obviously, I used it earlier on my Chinese friend Chinaman. I call him the Chinaman. Then there's Chink. You know, everybody knows that one. Coolie. What is that? I have never heard of
Coolie?
that. A Coolie.
I think that's a cigarette that you put Coke at the end of.
I've heard of that.
You've heard of that? An unskilled Asian laborer, usually Chinese. Originally used in the 19th century for Chinese railroad laborers, possibly from Mandarin. Interesting. Gook. Everybody knows Gook. Everybody knows Jap, Nip. Does anybody ever call you a Nip or anything like that?
I've been called Nip. Yeah, sure.
What about an Oriental?
No, that doesn't really hit very hard. What am I, furniture?
Have you been referred to as yellow?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Chinky-eyed. There's a bunch of them. Anyway.
Slope, slant.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Whoa.
Let's just keep going. Should we go through? I mean, you're trying to figure
Rice
it out.
ball. I think Gavin made up rice ball, but that's one of them. Then
Rice
there's
ball.
like slug or something like that.
Oh,
slug.
wait a second. He came up with rice ball. He actually told me this. I think on the podcast when I interviewed him, he told me. I think he told me about that. And I said rice ball is an Italian like thing you eat. It's like a little ball with rice and a meatball inside of it in the middle.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So it's not even an Asian ethnic slur, really. That's another thing that's similar between Italians and Asians.
You're right. Oh my God.
Life is a circle, and actually, the Chinaman taught me that.
It comes a full circle. What is that from Chuck and Larry? Where like the Chinese, the slope that married them, he was like, "Life is like a circle." I think it was who played that? It's my friend. Fucking who's the? Oh, Rob Schneider played an Asian. I can't believe
another ethnically ambiguous person.
Yeah. Oh, big time.
Definitely. See that? See what you got going for you? You got a lot of possibilities.
Here's another.
I would not write off. I would not write off the possibility of moving to Hollywood and just selling your soul to the devil. Fuck it.
That's very Robert Johnson of me. If I were to do that, I love Jesus too much.
Another music reference. So, what exactly are the responsibilities of a podcast producer?
I wouldn't know. I just know how to unintentionally sabotage basically everything. Let's see. Don't go full screen when full screen is needed. Go full screen and cut off the border of the image if you have a template laid over it that obscures what people want to see. Don't have the volume correctly potted so that way when you go to the video, it's heard nice audibly and things. Don't speak correctly. Okay, so you might have noticed that I've been I've been doing that all the time. Let's see what else. Oh man, there's so many. No, I don't know. I try my best, but it's always terrible.
Wow, so you'd be great at like teaching another person to be a podcast producer, right? Like a mentor or something like that. You could definitely lay it out very nicely.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Why don't you have a microphone at your home studio? I mean, that's you as a podcast producer, you should probably be all mic'd up.
I got this thing, but then I got to put in my interface. I got this whole jammy. But yeah, then I got to like talk like this. My face is obscured, but I love Labs. I think Lab has a real great warm sound to it. Like my sound sounds pretty good though, right now.
It sounds good. No, I just on other stuff I've seen you on. That's all. I was just busting your balls. Mm-hmm. But another question. I know that Gavin has created many things, but what's with the similarity between Alex Jones's band.video and Gavin's censor.tv? The formula of those two web addresses seem familiar.
A little bit. Well, we can't have com, so.
Yeah, wasn't there another? There was another web address before this.
Freespeech.tv.
And then what happened with that right there?
There was another freespeechtv.com or something like that. It wasn't exactly freespeech.tv, but basically as if they were friendly and non-politically, this had nothing to do with politics or whatever. They were like, hey, can you stop and just name yourself something else, and we won't take you to court about it. And we're like, all right. And then we realized that we looked into it, and they're actually very lefty. They produce like lefty material. And we think that they were trying to like soft convince us to like not change the name or whatever. And then if it went to court, it would have been bad or something. So we just had to step around that pretty cautiously. But I think they wanted to like take us down, and it could have happened, but we avoided, any real damages, and we just had to change our name. So there's that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then
So, but after Gavin left Compound Media and prior to him setting up his own podcast network, he was with CRTV. Is that right? You said?
Yep.
What were the circumstances surrounding the Blaze merger gone wrong? When Glenn Beck is a scum, apparently, right? What happened with that?
I don't exactly know. I mean, that one is like kind of up in the air. There's no actual confirmed motivation to have had Gavin taken off. We suspected that maybe now that the merger was beneficial for them partially because of how well known Glenn Beck was, and so that kind of boosted up CRTV. And CRTV has Crowder and Mark Levin and Gavin, and so merging it together would only make it more popular and yada yada. But with that being put under the spotlight even more, perhaps at the time there was the Proud Boy stuff going on with the Metropolitan Club that had like just happened.
Oh
and
my
so
God.
now Cowboys is like the dirtiest word in the world, and they probably feared controversy, but maybe they also feared, Gavin had some of the best ratings ever. Nice shirt. 7 lives from my computer. Yep, that's exactly it. And 7's a good start. And so besides that, maybe it was a popularity contest too, where they're like, well, Gavin's demographic reaches anything from the younger people like Crowder's audience to older people like Levin's audience. Like really his demographic runs the spectrum. So maybe they were a little threatened and also scared of the controversy. That's what I think.
Well, let me you are part Japanese, so I wanted to ask you about this. Did Yamaguchi do anything wrong?
No, he didn't.
He didn't.
If that man had a helicopter, I bet he would have done a lot of things that weren't wrong on top of the thing that he didn't do wrong.
Wow, nice. But so yeah, were you there at the Republican Club that night?
Yeah, I was filming it, and I was part of the show. I played the guy, the socialist Japanese man, and I went up and I did my speech, and then I went into slow-mo so that way Gavin could assassinate me in slow-mo. I was like, Hirtatakaruni, Sailor Moon, Boo Boo Doo Boo Pokemon. And then fucking Gavin comes in with the sword, and I slow motion die. And then he pulls out a Sapporo and then drinks it. It was great. It was a fucking stand-up comedy show where he takes all these bits he's been working on that have truth boiled into them, and he lays them out there. People are laughing and having fun. And then after, all during that, meanwhile, outside, there's like protesters, Antifa, hateful people, honestly.
Oh yeah.
But inside it was all love. It was all love and fun and great and fun and love and fun and great. And fun.
Okay, so you were there that night though. Can you take me through it like afterwards when the fight ensued, the piss started getting thrown around, and Max Hare and what's the other
John
name escapes me. Yes, John
Yep.
Kinsman. So those gentlemen were arrested, and they're serving time right now in prison because of these events. What happened from your perspective?
So I had to pack up all the stuff. I left a little bit after the group of guys, which were being escorted by the police. So I came up to the group on the tail end of it all. And and then I had to find my car. So no arrests were made that night because the cops were like, all right, this is not a big deal, because it just wasn't. Like, things happen like that all the time. And it was, they weren't like, we want to press charges or anything. Nobody was injured. So the cops just like, all right, whatever, fucking go away. They were all just trying to go to a bar, so I wound up having to since I was behind everybody, I didn't have the police escort. We walked to the subway, and I was like, oh yeah, I got my car parked here, which I was borrowing a car. So I had to go back to my car, and meanwhile, there's Antifa all around. So I was like, I would have been fucking jumped probably. So I had two guys, Jeff, who served weekends for his involvement in that little scuffle there. He served weekends, Jeff. And so Jeff and another Proud Boy, and maybe another one too, maybe me and two other guys, walked to my car. And then there was Antifa following us, yelling shit at us. And so that was like my experience with the whole thing. But the fight was over by the time I had gotten to it. But it wasn't like a big deal. It was as exciting as a fight in a hockey match round. What do you call a hockey thing? Hockey game?
Period.
Hockey period.
Yes, the enforcers or whoever fights. Yeah, that's great. Anyway.
Do they call it a hockey period because it gets bloody sometimes?
Oh, yes, they do. They do. Great. See, there you go. You're so good, man. Using that comedy brain.
There you go.
God, so how are these guys spending 4 years in prison for something that is a victimless crime? Like the victims didn't even press charges. Isn't this insane? You like the shirt that Gavin hawks, and it's such a great shirt. I love that Clown World shirt. This is fucking Clown World.
Sure. No, it doesn't make any sense. It's unprecedented. The lawyers were like, I've never seen anything like this. It's pretty much Cuomo. He's a scumbag. And when he was fucking finger blasting his secretaries or whatever he was doing, being a total weirdo, even though I don't really know if he did anything that wrong, but he's a scumbag, so fuck him. And then killing old people. Actually, that was before any of that stuff. He's always been a scumbag in this form before he could do any old people killing or making women uncomfortable. He was like, how do I be a scumbag? And he's like, okay, I'll politicize the events that took place after this talk. And instead of the people that vandalized the venue and went out of their way to glue the lock shut, spray paint the door, break the windows, put a death threat on the door, tape it there, instead of like those guys who are performing hate, involved in hate with their hateful signs outside, looking for trouble, looking for a problem, so that way the ones inside who have to be escorted by police get attacked and bothered, piss thrown on them, get cornered, and so they have to fight their way out of that. Instead of like, punishing those people, like we'll just punish like the Trump guys because we don't like Trump. And so, they really self-defense, trying to mind their own business. Proud Boys get attacked by Antifa, but they're on the politically inconvenient side or whatever. And it's just bullshit. It's just bullshit. I mean, Cuomo is scum. He's just true scum. I walk around New York City with my girlfriend. I say very loudly things about Cuomo that I'm not going to say here. Things that might be interpreted in a way that might get me in trouble. But he
just like what, Tourette's? Like New York City Tourette's?
Basically, but you know what? My motto is like, if there's people walking around like, can I get $1? And their dick is in their hand, they're pissing on people. Like if they have full free reign to behave their way, that way. And I'm just saying a couple of true things where like, Cuomo's a crook. He should, blank. I wish somebody would blank. It's, by the way, it's not illegal, FBI who's watching this, to wish things. Not yet. It's not illegal to hope for another to have some sort of accident. And it is unchristian to do so, but I'm still working out my problems. But, I'm very angered at the way he's destroyed New York City, destroyed the lives of two of my friends. 3, if you count Jeff. And because the man has no soul or any sort of good judgment whatsoever. He could be likable to the West Coast people where they're all like, oh, Cuomo's so cool. So, he fooled them, but not me. He's deep down, he's a really pitiful person. So is de Blasio too, but I feel like he's more of a spineless bitch. Cuomo's like an evil puppeteer who,
I was gonna bring up de Blasio. I mean, de Blasio, it's not even his name, right? It's It's some fucking stupid name. He is our
Yeah,
dumb.
William Wilhelm or something.
Yeah, William Wilhelm, dude.
Yeah,
What a
Bob Dylan got away with doing that, changing his name because he's Bob Dylan. But if you're just a big bitch, like if I fucking see De Blasio and he attacks me first and I have to defend myself, I would just honestly, I would pretend I'm going in for like a. Is this legal to like go through?
Why not? Listen, the FBI probably is watching this, by the way. Just letting you know.
Right. Yeah, no, that's fine. I mean, we get along. I mean, I talk to them on the phone. I'm like, hey, FBI, wouldn't it be funny if like fucking, because I know they're listening, but they never talk back. Not yet. I'm sure one day they're gonna hit a button and be like, yeah, that was pretty funny, but we have to do. Oh shit! And then I'm like, now I'm there. Like, I heard you, Agent. Fucking whatever. But yeah, if okay, so De Blasio, right? He's there. He's got a security detail, and he's like, guys, hold on a second. This little Asian guy, this little slope. I'm like, whoa, and I'm innocent. I'm just like, what? I'm just minding my own business. Probably have a cheeseburger in my hand. I'm like on the go. I'm like, what? So he just like slaps me like I'm a bitch. He just goes like this to the back of my head, like psh, like a kid that did something wrong, like a neighborhood kid, like not your kid. So you're just like, hey, get the fuck. So
I think a little note. I think you should say, "What's happening?" instead. What's happening?
What's happening? No problem. So he slaps me about my head, and now I'm in self-defense mode. I'm fearing for my life. He's larger than me. He has a black wife. This guy could tear me to shreds. So now I go, okay, and now I throw a fake combo, like a fake. And as he's like about to parry, I take my foot, which is pretty strong, he had a strong leg, like a frog, like a toad, and I push it very fast into his shin, and it goes like this. Now this is not a threat, because I would never do this, but he assaulted me first, so I did go ahead and disable his leg, and now I have to take on his Shirlene McRae, who is, you know, a big brolic lady, I guess. And so she's like, ah! So she runs towards me, and I just like trip her because she's a lady. Just go, sorry, lady. But she was about to attack me. Now in court, it's gonna look pretty bad. They're like, you tripped her, and she didn't touch you. I was like, yes, but she was running towards me, and the person who she was with had attacked me already. And by the way, it wouldn't be much of a trip. I just put my leg out, so she was coming with all the force. And then they'll be like, all right, it's declared, or whatever judges say. It's declared. And then I get out of there.
Oh, yeah. What do they say? They don't say that's declared.
It's declared. It's declared.
They say it's declared?
No. Not even close.
God, what do they fucking say when they hit the gavel?
Order.
What setting is this? Where can you tell me the setting of where all this occurs? There's
Just New York City. I mean, one of the coolest things is that
here's what I picture. I picture it's October. It is Columbus Day, and they're having the Columbus Day parade, and so De Blasio and Cuomo are both there marching in the parade, and then this is where it goes down somehow. You come swooping in. And well, somehow they both have to start this first, but you take them both out.
Yeah. Well, they definitely start. You know what they did? A projectile. So I'm far away. I'm actually like where a gargoyle is, like up roosting on the top of a building somewhere, really high, like almost like an altitude that's uncomfortable for humans to be at. Like they built a new super tall thing, and I'm on top of that in New York City. Like the world's tallest tower, and then I'm up there like
on Fifth Avenue, right?
Minding my own business. P.S. Like maybe eating a thing. Like, wow, it's really windy here. Fucking hair just blowing like this, and I'm pissed because I like my hair to be just so. And and then they flick like a rubber band. You know when you take a rubber band and you put it around your thumb, and then you let it go behind the teacher's back. They shoot me with that. I don't even know if they were intending to hit me. I think maybe the wind carried it, but that's legally enough for me to engage myself in self-defense mechanisms.
And so I've taken your eye out.
Yeah, exactly. With my Red Ryder. So I swoop down, and this is in the future where guns are legal in New York City, and but that is actually relevant, and I don't use any of those. I'm just trying to paint a picture of like the atmosphere. So maybe other people are trying to like fire at me because they don't like me because Asian lives still don't matter in the future because they're like, listen, Black lives matter, but we're smart, we're not dumb. Asian lives clearly are a dime a dozen.
In light of the increase in anti-Asian New York City attacks, are you more wary about wearing your MAGA hat on commutes?
Okay, I was never wary of wearing the MAGA hats ever. I'm depressed enough to not wear them because Trump isn't. It's kind of like, it's almost like my team lost the World Series and I'm still wearing the hat. It's just like, you know what? Like sometimes I will on my own, but no. Maybe upstate New York I will just to let people know where I stand. But in the city, you're outnumbered with people who don't like Trump, so they're going to be like, "He fucking lost, bitch," and I don't want to hear that.
Have you
But if
ever
go
done that?
upstate,
Have you ever done it?
what?
Worn a MAGA hat, out commuting on the train and
All the
stuff?
time, all the time. Yeah,
And that's
absolutely.
what
I think because
that's
I'm
what,
not white. Like you and me can get away with it because we're not white. But
no, I can't get away with it.
no, I'm just kidding. I love how Italians they had to like invent like olive skin, and be like, "Hey, I'm not dark, I'm olive skinned." It's like, dude, just drop it. You're not white.
Oh
I'm
my
a white.
God.
I'm olive.
That is so great. You're right. I never really picked that apart. I never really analyzed the olive
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, your Kalamata are like olive.
Olives are black.
Dark purple.
Lots of
Olive
olives.
Lucy.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that's right.
Had nothing to do with anything. I'm so sorry.
All right. So what's this I hear about you not believing in dinosaurs?
Okay, I believe in dinosaurs. I think maybe the timeline is a little fudged up. Yet again, I don't believe in the arbiters of history. I've seen wonkiness and shenanigans happen in real time. I know, it's all, science is a thing where it's compounded on the previous scientific discoveries, right? So, it's not to say that because one thing is false, all the whole tower of cards comes down. But, I have faith in humanity. I know humanity has created a lot of great things and engineered a lot of great things and created systems that have improved life and everything like that. I don't doubt science. But the whole dinosaur thing, I don't know. It feels like an attack on Christianity in a way, because it's like these big dinosaurs were born in a time. It's almost like they're the only living thing that puts into question the chronology of the Bible. I don't really know if there's a lot of other things, maybe like some seashells or like this tree. But as far as like not sentient, but like creatures go, they're the only living proof, or proof that a thing was living, that questions the timeline of the Bible. So before I go ahead and have faith in science and scientists I'd rather default to where my faith should go. So until I learn, and I'm not talking about like going to college and somebody tells me that this is true, this guy discovered that, so therefore this is true, and this year this was found, this was carbon dated, that belongs there. That's having faith in something. Unless you go out and you prove it and you try to disprove it and whatever. I just haven't done the work yet, but that's where I'm at right now. I just don't want to blindly believe everything that we've been told about dinosaurs. And I'm sketched out by it. It smells funny,
I hear you, man. It's you actually make a lot of sense because everybody wants to trust the guy in the lab coat like they're God or something like that, And they forget, that these people, human beings, are just creatures. We're complete idiots, all of us. Nobody's better than anybody else. Nobody's above anybody else, below anybody else. We're all going to die someday. And even if you like study and you know this and that, whatever, you're still a human being and you don't know shit, in my opinion, And there's a lot of bullshit going on. I mean, if you like Einstein, a lot of what being whatever exact I don't know his exact sign. I forgot what exact science.
Relativity?
I sound like such an idiot now. But
Relativity.
no,
with him.
what kind of scientist he is?
Oh, I don't know.
Like
Maybe you know?
a physicist, a theoretical physicist.
Right.
This is just imagination, man. It's just like dreaming shit up, you know?
They did have some of those things that like quantum physics, string theory, that's all kind of evolved. Like I remember either string theory or there was a theory before that, quantum theory. One of them was like squashed because it didn't fit with relativity. So I think string theory was the binding theory that unified the findings of Einstein with relativity and quantum physics and stuff like that, like the macroverse with the big planets and the universe, and then also down to the things that are microscopic and like, in the microverse or whatever that may be called, and how things behave differently, and time is kind of warped depending on the size of things and time. So I read a book, The Elegant Universe by Brian Greene, and he was breaking down the string theories. I think it was called The Elegant Universe. I think that was what it's called. But he had another book too I started reading. But so I've always been interested in that sort of stuff, but it does kind of like, well, I mean, who's checking this shit? I mean, it's a very small community of theoretical physicists. And I mean, I'm sure a lot of it is backed up by experiments and stuff, but when you have a community that can't be checked by anybody else besides people in that community, it gets a little, I don't know if I trust it quite so, because it's a lot of power to say you have the truth and you have more knowledge of reality than another. And that's what we're experiencing right now with COVID. Somebody who knows more than us is saying we got to sacrifice our way of life. Or in the case of theoretical physics and, providing a timeline for things that came before us, discrediting the Bible up above in the heavens with planets, and we're just nothing. We're just stardust, garbage, an accident. Enjoy it because it's pointless. Fuck you. So there's one. And then also science when it comes to climate, because everything's so politicized and they try to use scientific findings for political reasons to control you physically. Oh, you can't have this type of car. You can't do this. We're punishing America, taxing America, even though we have some of the lowest emissions in the world when it comes to, modern countries. It's just like a way to control your way of life. But the funny thing about the dinosaurs and the astrophysicists is that controls your belief, because don't think that you're special, you're divine, and you have a heavenly father who loves you and you're important. All that's scrapped because big planets fucking spitting fire and shitting gas out with rings and fucking dildos flapping out and like unicorn fucking quirk. Fuck you. I don't want to hear any of that shit. And how the fuck do they know what the Earth is made of in the core? Like, all right, we've dug 8 miles into the Earth. That's all. Like some Russians are like, we dig real far. We never got past the crust. So how do they theorize this? Well, if you look at the striations, fuck you.
We've never gotten past?
We've never gotten past the Earth's crust. But I think it's from observably. By the way, 200 years ago, we were way more retarded. Like 100 years ago, we thought sucking on a lime could help with typhus or some shit. Like we were stupid. So this is the era which all that stuff comes from. Now, I know that they've also done some really impressive stuff, splitting the atom, the hydrogen bomb, fucking, chemistry, physics. I get it. But how much of that, what are they sneaking in there with this whole package? I don't know.
What about the moon
but
landing? What about the moon landing? Sorry for cutting you off.
I don't know. I haven't really looked into it, but I know it's juicy. I know there's a lot of people with some juicy info over here. Oh, they deleted all, and this is backed up, where they deleted all of the info from it, all the computer like data from that. They deleted that. There's really limited footage. I mean, fucking, how could this happen? The fucking Nelson Van Alden of the Internal. That's from Boardwalk Empire. All my Boardwalk Empire fans, Van Alden. Okay. Michael Shannon, great actor, weird face, looks like Frankenstein. So where was I besides Retarded Land, USA? Population 1. Oh yeah, okay. So I've heard a lot of good arguments on both fronts, saying it's real, saying it's not real. I've listened to Owen Benjamin. I mean, who hasn't? Dude, the Earth is flat. Like, if you don't believe the Earth is flat, you're an actual sodomite and a Jew and a retard. Dude, raise chickens. I'm not saying the grabblers are bad. I'm just saying they're misled. Oh, but Big Bear, what about the universe? Dude, I don't want to hear it. You're banned.
Now, do you got to make you got to do the face too when you're making when you're doing the impersonation? Is that part of it?
I think I just morph my mouth so that way I can get the sound out right. The face is never good. Like, when I'm doing an impression, Gavin's like, well, show yourself. Like, put the camera on yourself. It kind of ruins it because I look nothing like the guy. The only one I've come close to looking like is Chris Laker with the wig and the beard, and then Donald Trump with the wig and the suit. But if you don't sell it physically, if you're going to half-ass sell it physically, it actually takes away from the impression. I like people to close their eyes. Not very hard for a guy like me, but for you, you're going to really close your eyelids and listen to the voice, because it's all about the voice.
That's so great, man. Now, would you ever get out of New York City? It's probably the last question. Would you ever move out? Because there's so many people moving out now, and they're all coming to places like here down in Florida, and they're buying up land, they're buying up houses. And I heard through the grapevine that Gavin was thinking about relocating south, like to Georgia or something like that. Is that true?
Yeah, I don't know what the timeline of that is, but absolutely, we want to get out of New York City. Like, it's like a one-way relationship where we've loved New York for so long, and it just doesn't love us very much. The people in it are just complete sheep. The ultimate form of distracted humanity, where they're just buying whatever the fuck mainstream media is selling. They're not curious people. There's very small enclaves of intelligent, critical thinkers, creatives that aren't tainted by the demonic fucking worldview that is being imposed on everybody. So yeah, no, New York sucks. The quality of life in the city fucking stinks. It's all depressing and yada yada. And then we're not treated very well. It's not even like you guys do your thing, we'll do our thing. We like Trump. It's like, no, they want to attack and they want to fucking bother us. So it's not a good place to be. So if he moves, wherever he moves, hopefully it's south. Hopefully it's free. Hopefully it's warmer, doper, freer, more American. And I would absolutely go with him wherever. And what else? Yeah, that's about it. But then again, upstate New York, Orange County, New York, Hudson Valley, gorgeous, beautiful.
Poughkeepsie area and stuff like that, Fishkill, all that area.
Yeah, I love Fishkill. Fishkill's right across the river from where I hail from.
Yep.
New York.
Oh, shit. You live in the Scum area, kind of.
Kind of scummy. Well, Newburgh is scum, but like we're right outside the scum. New Windsor-ish, nice, right?
Yeah, the FDR bridge, right? Over that?
Yeah, a little FDR there, sure.
That's right. Okay.
They got some nice views, some mountains, creeks, and then every town has its own little personality, open mics, and then when you're in a band in that environment, it's pretty cool. Your name travels kind of far. Like, you'll go to like Montgomery and they're like, oh, we heard you guys, and that's really cool. So it's big fish, little pond stuff, but it's gorgeous up there. You got a lot of space, a lot of property. Wander in the woods, free living, hiking is huge. The views are amazing. And
well, I'm pretty excited about this, I guess it's because of the internet and podcasting and stuff like that. And you don't really need to be in the city to talk to whoever, and you try to get an awesome interview. You could do it right like this, right? You're chilling right in your living room and your girlfriend's next to you and you're doing impersonations and you're having a good time and it's entertaining, right?
It's awesome. I'm comfy.
You don't need to be in the rat race. You could be free. As long as you have a high-speed internet connection, you're good. And everybody's figuring that out. It's pretty awesome.
So true. It's very true. And, it's just like, one day, if I ever come back on, I'll plug in my microphone, so I'll have it here, and I'll sound a lot better. Actually, I don't know if it'll sound better, but I'll have a microphone. It would look profesh, and I'd be able to plug in my guitar and then also like play a lick every now and then, like Bill and Ted. Like, I'll say something cool and be like,
hell yeah, bro. Or like Wayne's World on crack,
Pretty true.
All right, man. So I'm going to go into the outro. You can stick around. It's only going to be a second. You said you liked the intro, so here's the outro. All right? Thank you
Yes.
so much, you guys, for watching the Monday evening stream, ladies and gents. If you're in the market for awesome custom t-shirts, check out fatenzo.com for our line of pseudo-intellectual party tees. Check out fatenzo.shop for Perry's and Proud Boy swag. Check out proudenzo.com. I'm Bobby Pickles, and I've had an outstanding time with you today and with Ryan Katsu Rivera. Ryan, do we have anything else? I mean, obviously, Censor.tv is your plug, right? And
Yeah,
everybody
and
knows that.
And then people could follow me on Instagram. This is my third Instagram, at Nopeyup Official. Nopeyup Official. That's my band name. That's my music moniker. I snuck on Facebook, but I'm not going to be there for long, so I'm not going to plug that. Also, YouTube, youtube.com/channel/Ryan Katsu Rivera. And but on the Instagram, there's all the links. And Asian Pat Dixon on Twitter, Censor.tv, and balls.
Hell yeah. I appreciate everybody who watched this. Thank you so much. But I appreciate you more for liking and sharing this podcast. There's a 20-year-old nerd sitting in a back room at Google with cum stains crusted on his pants, deciding who wins or loses in life because he learned how to code while living in his mommy's basement. Are you going to allow that? Fuck no, you're not. It's time to fight back. Give that dork a slap by posting this to Facebook or Twitter or Parler or whatever. And always remember, friends, vaya con Dios. Adios.
Pickles Podcast. He always says that's me. With that look on his face, he'll talk about anything.
Outstanding.
Tattoos, t-shirts, politics.